All right, testing 1 2 1 2. Tom Set Stadium, Melbourne Knights and Oakleigh. Testing 1 2. Mic check. Testing 1 2.
Let's go.
Please do it hold for 1 minute silence.
Let's go.
May you rest in peace. Put your feet in the Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, from Melbourne Knights standpoint, we have Kieran Bramwell.
Well, tonight we play catch-up in NPL Victoria. The game held over from round 17, meaning this is the only game taking place in the Victorian top flight for the weekend. It is Melbourne Knights hosting the Oakleigh Cannons at Thomset Stadium. And it is a fight for survival, as we know, for the Melbourne Knights. Bottom of the table as we speak. If they can claim a victory tonight, they will rise 2 spots on the table and up into 12th. They take on the reigning champions, Oakleigh, who are currently sitting 4th on the table in NPL Victoria. A win here for the visitors, and they will go to 3rd, and there will be a 9-point gap between the top 4 and the Preston Lions, currently sitting 5th, as we enter what is just beyond now a month remaining in the regular season for NPL Victoria in season 2025. My name's Adam Sarikoglu, pleased to be joining you once more on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. And 2 lineups that are quite familiar from those that started last weekend in NPL Victoria. Just one change for John Markovski and the Melbourne Knights. It's Ata Inya that has come into the starting 11. Ben Carrigan making way, and he will be a sub this evening for Melbourne Knights. And for Chris Taylor, the exact same starting 11 that ended up taking a draw from George Andrews' reserve last weekend against the Dandenong Thunder. So just one change combined between these 2 sides. Declan Woods is our referee. The Knights will be defending the northern end of Thomset Stadium.
Give a shout out.
There'll be Masatal Shiba to kick things off here for Melbourne Knights. In the traditional red shirts this evening, the All Navy kit for Oakleigh. The final checks and perhaps some running repairs at the northern end net here. And assisting with those repairs is the Melbourne Knights goalkeeper, Gabriel Marti. The Knights coming off a 4-2 defeat to Dynamo last week. They've not had a good recent record against Oakleigh. Have the Melbourne Knights at league level have not claimed a win in this decade. You have to go back to 2019, the last time the Knights got the better of Oakleigh in Victoria's top flight. After a small delay, and even a faux kick-off, we are indeed underway. A one and only game for this weekend in NPL Victoria. Doherty Cup semi-finals coming up later in the weekend, of course. These 2 teams out of cup action. This game originally slated for round 17. And the pitch was the concern after some quite heavy rain. The pitch had not held up and the game had to be rescheduled. It was a Sunday night game over the King's birthday weekend that has now been moved pretty much a month later now. The good news is the pitch, despite again having a rather wet day here in Melbourne and some quite heavy rain throughout the afternoon, the pitch has been able to hold up here. And after tonight, all teams in NPL Victoria are going to be caught up. So Oakleigh can go into the top 3 with victory tonight. And they've just had a little blip in their form of late. Just one win from their last 4. Dramatically down 3-0 after only a quarter of the game had ticked by at Dandenong Thunder last week. Had to claw their way back. Eventually a Joe Guest penalty in the 82nd minute brought them back level against a really, really hot Dandenong Thunder, the team that is currently sitting 3rd in NPL Victoria. The Melbourne Knights going down to the local rival at Churchill Reserve last week. As we see McGilp play it wide and a foray forward for Oakleigh. All sorts of tight marking there on Juratovic. As Semi will look to play the wide ball. It's not going to get through. Tratt will restart things for Oakleigh. Juratovic having some trouble keeping the ball under control. Tratt has to double back here and he's under some pressure. The shot being taken away, it's deflected in. Idia has come into the starting lineup and instantly scored what could be one of the most important goals of this Melbourne Knights season. Jack Wachowski, there was not much he could do. It sailed over the top and bounced in for an early Melbourne Knights goal. Ata Inia in his 2nd appearance for Melbourne Knights, having come from Thailand. And it's an early 1-0 lead for Melbourne Knights. Their mission tonight to get off the bottom of the NPL Victoria table. And it's a perfect start in their quest here tonight. And so McGilp looking to utilise the absolutely marvellously informed Joe Guest, who then couldn't connect with Kasimovic. Another 14 goals for Joe Guest in NPL Victoria this season. 2 of which came against Melbourne Knights earlier in the season. It was a 3-0 win for Oakleigh back in late February. Hampson, oh wow! Instant reply! Connor Hampson just blazed away from downtown, gives us a wave. And it's 1-1 already. Two goals in 5 minutes to start this game. The only one we have in NPL Victoria this weekend, and already plenty for the highlight reel. For Connor Hampson, only his 2nd goal of the season. And the Knights' lead lasted barely 2 minutes. Feels like we've barely settled in here. Already both goalkeepers have been beaten here tonight. Marty, it's an unconvincing clearance. Shorski, I should say. Marty at the other end, of course. Juranovic gets tripped up. It happens in a flash here at Thompson Stadium. Jacob Tratt in combination with Jordan Hall at the back for Oakleigh this evening. It's Semi at midfield. Took a late hit from McGilp. Verndl. No Carrigan at the back for Melbourne Knights this evening. That's the one change. Ata Inia has come into the starting 11 tonight. His second appearance here for the Knights, and already has put one away. But it's been cancelled out by a long ranger from Connor Hampson. Kasimovic playing into the area, but it's behind Joe Guest. Here's Tommy Semi. Needing to find a way around McGilt, but will retreat back. Anthony Giselle back home now here at Summer Street. Looking to inject just a bit of stability and experience into this lineup. It's so needed right now. Adrian Valenti is on this left side, and Bramwell is unable to make it 2-1. Jack Wachowski doing well. And Adrian Valenti is going to come over and take a corner. Bramwell scored in the 85th minute against St Albans last week, and pretty quickly St Albans got a reply. Just absolutely sucked the life out of Melbourne Knights. After Bramwell have made it 3-2 late in that game, of course. Only for St Albans to strike back pretty quickly. And more points going begging for a club so desperate to stay at the top of the Victorian footballing pyramid. They've been staring down the barrel for quite some time now, Melbourne Knights. The drop is looming, and they are running out of chances. And it looks so promising to begin with, but for only 2 minutes they held a lead here against the reigning champs. Connor Hampson just blazing one away. A powerful strike off the left boot. And Gabe Marty was a little helpless with it. Here's Tratt. Ball was played back beautifully there. There was no one in the middle of the box though for Oakleigh. Giselle. Hancock's ball. Initially a pressured one. Went back in to help. They've done well to maintain possession, Melbourne Knights. Wendell. Thought about going laterally to Giselle. Goes longer down the line instead. Boyce will clean up for Oakleigh. Hampson, the goal scorer. Only his second for the season. That's one he'll enjoy watching back on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Once we're done here tonight, Kasimovic had to get away from Morton. It's sent long toward Joe Guest. Marked by Hancock. It will be an Oakleigh ball. So Kingsley Sinclair score. A pretty nice goal from range. Here is Sinclair on the ball right now last week against Dandenong Thunder. It was his third goal of the season. They had to come back from 3-0 down after just 24 minutes of that game. Comeback completed inside the last 10 minutes of regulation. But they can still, with this game in hand that is being caught up tonight, they can go back into third on the table, right where we're accustomed to seeing Chris Taylor's men. Here's the turnover ball, and Guest will play out quickly. Hancock does well to get all ball, dispossessing Juratovic. It's played forward for Inia. This is Hall. Brody Boyce. Jordan Hall. Jacob Tratt. Hampson in two minds. Wendell will reclaim it for Melbourne Knights. So Ata Inia with a deflection, popping over the top of the Oakleigh goalkeeper, Jack Wachowski, with the opening goal here. That was in the 3rd minute. A couple minutes later, from this kind of area, it was Connor Hampson with a left-footed bullet to equalise for Oakleigh. The early headlines here as Bramwell takes it over halfway. Semi Valenti has to backtrack. This is Dazelle in central midfield. Anthony Dazelle back from FC Strathmore. Thomas Wendell now looking to inject a little more intensity and tempo into this possession, but again they will slow it back down and retreat back, Melbourne Knights. Nathan Hancock moved over from Dandenong City in recent weeks, gets it back from Dazelle. That's going to get away from Wendell. And Kasimovic will look to take advantage. Bramwell comes in late. And the captain felt the need to really throw his body at it. And absorb the yellow card and slow things down for Oakleigh. for Kieran Brownwell. The 4th time this year he's seen yellow. And it's the ever-present threat of Joe Guest. And his lethal left boot that we wait upon now. Declan Woods gives the all clear. Plenty of bend for Joe Guest, but arms out, wondering what was happening on the other end of his ball. Nothing in the end for Oakleigh. Only 17 minutes in here at Tomset Stadium. And we are at 1-1, 2 goals inside the first 5 minutes of this game. McGill. Juratovic needing to work hard here. Will actually win out, will he? No. Late recovery, Valenti, to at least try to neutralise that ball back and force a throw here for the Cannons. Boyce. Guest. Boyce going back to Sinclair. McGill. Tratt. Now Hall. Oakleigh just looking to reset the formation. Such a disciplined machine. And the Oakleigh Cannons under Chris Taylor. Looking to mount their run. They're defending their crown this year in NPL Victoria. It does normally seem to be that little blip through the middle latter portions of the season for Oakleigh. They don't have any other football to distract them by way of cup fixtures and so forth. For the remainder of the season, all of their time and energy can go into NPL Victoria. Had to work so hard to earn a point back against Dandenong Thunder last week. Here's Guest. And Hampson, we've seen him from this range before already tonight. This time he's setting up. Marty got a glove on it, but it's not going to matter. It's forced in, and it's 2-1. And it looks like Kingsley Sinclair is claiming it. Kasumovic made sure of the matter. It looked like Marty had enough of it. That was not the case, and Oakleigh now lead. We will give it to Kingsley Sinclair. Goals seemingly easy to come by here tonight. And it's already 2-1. We haven't passed a quarter of this game just yet. Sinclair scoring in back-to-back fixtures, twice in a week. That would be 2 of the 3 goals here tonight that have taken a heavy deflection. Oakleigh looking to charge once more. So patient, so clinical, so trusting in their system. Oakleigh. No panic whatsoever after conceding the early goal. And right now, in full control against the bottom of the table team. It was dead silence here at Tomset Stadium when that second goal went in. Can't say it's a huge crowd here tonight. You would understand that given the situation that the Knights find themselves in. And a properly cold evening here as well in the northwest this evening. And after such a promising, surprising start, just to ignite things, the early goal from Inia. It hasn't taken too long for the Knights to find themselves down yet again. They've not had fun against Oakleigh. It's been more than 6 years since claiming a league victory against the Cannons. How's that volley in? Maybe still a chance here. Juratovic is falling over. Marty, unconvincing clearance, but it will come off. Bramwell tried to fire quickly back toward Inia. Here's Jordan Hall. Hampson just poking one over the top. This is McGill. Sinclair. Kasumovic. Plenty of space, and it has definitely come off the arm of Adrian Valenti. There's no doubt about that. That was clear as day from our vantage point. Instead, we'll get a corner. It would be rubbing salt into the wound. If the Knights had to suddenly keep out a penalty kick. They'll have to settle for the corner from Joe Guest. Kasumovic. Another corner. Off Valenti again. Came absolutely steaming in there. Really late, trying to catch who that was. Like a steam train. It was Jacob Trapp out of nowhere. Didn't make any contact with the ball though. It took a Melbourne Knights touch on its way to the grandstand side here. Another corner. The Knights, if they lose tonight, they'll be 8 points adrift, along with quite a bit of goal difference behind Altona Magic. We can obviously cut that gap down to 5, but it's not been the ideal start to this game, despite scoring very early. Mawson. Valenti for Wendell. Hancock. Knights haven't actually been able to sustain any possession for quite a while now. It's been entirely on Oakleigh's terms. They'll go back to Marty. Wendell. Little touch from Semi. I'm not sure if that was the way it was planned for him. Kasumovic. And nope, that's going to be well out of reach for Juratovic. In fact, it was Matty Dench that had no chance to make a play on the ball. Valenti. Hampson dashing down the line to win it back and set up a new attack here for Oakleigh. Kasumovic, look at the space he's been able to find here. Morton gets the block. Just feels like the avenues to goal are coming a little too easily to Oakleigh right now. We know how leaky the Knights were last week. Now Dynamo, they let 4 go in, but it was the ease with which that St Albans were generating their chances, and we're seeing a similar trend here tonight as well. That's of deep concern right now for John Markovski. Flag goes up here. Wendell, Bramwell. Nothing coming on this near side. They'll try the outer side. Bramwell's going to be afforded some space through the middle of the pitch here. Being tracked by Kasumovic, and that was a pretty good ball as well. Inia can't fire the shot away. Just suddenly was surrounded by navy blue. Valenti once more. Giselle. Hancock. Can they thread together some consecutive attacks? The first touch from Semi was never going to come off for him. It was a brilliant ball. Inia had he just had enough space. Melbourne Knights 1, Oakleigh 2. There'll be 5 more fixtures to come for Melbourne Knights after tonight. And only 2 of them are going to be here. Their next 2 games away. This time next week they'll be travelling to BT Connor Reserve. It's the Preston Lions. That will be hosting Melbourne Knights, and then George Andrews reserve after that. So 2 teams in the top 6 coming up in a row. For the Melbourne Knights, Hume City, Dandenong City, Altona Magic in the run home. They won't be going into any of those as a favourite. There may well be a scenario where they head over to Paisley Park on the final day of the season in what could essentially be a relegation playoff between those 2. The way the table is shaping up, it's still a fair way into the future though. Here's a chance. The shots and the goal from Bramwell. He's not missing this time. It's 2-2. When you need someone to stand up, you look to the captain, Kieran Bramwell. Slots it home.
The goal is Kieran Bramwell.
Back level at Tomset Stadium. He had missed one very early in the game. It's a shootout at Summer Street. Matthew Dench going down. Another free kick for Joe Guest. Stratovic, but found himself just wedged in behind Hancock and was never going to be able to get the right angle on the header. So we've seen 4 goals in just a tick over half an hour. And for the moment at least, the Knights are staying with one of the very best here in NPL Victoria. Matching them essentially blow for blow. I know Oakleigh have had sustained periods where they've had a fair handle on this game and been in control. But if this does continue to be a shootout, well, they've got some firepower tonight. 4 goals scored in this game. Not one of them belonged to Joe Guest. Kasimovic will go low, too low. And Wendell regains it for Melbourne Knights. Giselle in a spot of bother, Semi. Valencia has to go back to the keeper, Marty. The tempo has lifted here. Chiba went out wide quickly. Fraser Dunlop had been dispossessed. He'll claim the throw though. Chiba, Dunlop. There's an Oakleigh player down a fair way off the ball. Connor Hampson is the man down. And Declan Woods has stopped play here. I'm not entirely sure that I've seen what's happened there. And this actually, just now looking at the replay, he did collide with Fraser Dunlop. Looked to be okay initially, but in the aftermath has perhaps just been winded. Did score the pick of the 4 goals we've seen so far tonight, Connor Hampson. Always okay. We're back with the Melbourne Knights building off their last line of defence. It did seem as though Tommy Wendell was in 2 minds. Just did it all himself, and he's continued to go forward here. Bramwell, Inya. Wendell is in the area now, right now. The ball's going to come in the direction, but going over the head of Fraser Dunlop. It's been looking better for the last couple of minutes for Melbourne Knights. Dunlop's run was a good one. Seeing Kieran Bramwell putting in a lot of yards. Moving up into the midfield and trying to just get himself onto the ball a bit more, as opposed to being the main man up front. Right now it's Tommy Semi up front. Inia has also had a couple of balls come his way forward. Bramwell is trying to lead from the front, and his goal has brought this game level. A little flick back towards Semi's not going to come off. Kasimovic. Didn't take much to bring him down, but it was a foul. Kieran Bramwell, the only yellow card recipient so far. I think that Chris Taylor would want his side just to chain some possession together themselves now and get some control back. They'll get a free kick here. So another left-footed ball incoming from Joe Guest. Marcy just orchestrating the two-man wall here right at the corner of the box for the Melbourne Knights. Guest waits for the all clear from Declan Woods. Another relatively low ball played up and eventually cleared out by Bramwell. Semi. There's a chance here now for the Knights. It was Valenti, and he just held up. Got chased down. Juratovic now. He was off to the races there. It was Adrian Valenti. The crowd was going with him, but he got stuffed out so easily. McGilt now. Placed it well in the end for Hampson. Thought for a moment that was going to head toward Joe Guest's left boot. I would nearly have marked it in the book had it have arrived anywhere near Joe Guest. We are averaging a goal every 10 minutes here so far tonight. Bramwell. Dunlop. Semi. Dunlop again making the run down the touchline. Semi holds up entirely. Hancock. Inia, the switching option. Some help available through Valenti. Inia. Kasimovic is the one just making life a bit hard for him. Adrian Valenti, who next week will be taking on his former side, the Preston Lions. Wendell. Morton. Wendell with a man on. And it was Joe Guest. Bramwell. That's not a bad ball either. Chiba just got caught in behind. Couldn't get there. McGilt goes down. It was a strong challenge. He's in quite a bit of distress right now. Play has been allowed to continue. Absolutely nothing from Declan Woods. Now he's going to stop play. He saw nothing there, Declan Woods. Gilby's writhing in pain. I must say it did look bad on replay. He's going to reach for the card now. And I must say it was definitely worthy of that. Looked like it might have been Anthony Dizelle. Now to decide how to restart it. Declan Woods picks up the ball. He's just going to casually hand it back to Gabe Marty, drop it down, and we're back underway. Approaching half-time. And a 4-goal shootout, 2 apiece here. The Knights needing every point they can get. Oakleigh positioned well to make their usual run into the finals in NPL Victoria. They've only won 1 from their last 4. It's a delightful record they have against Melbourne Knights. They've been able to score at least 3 goals in 3 of the last 4 head-to-heads against Melbourne Knights. They're well on track to do that again here tonight. Haven't been beaten since 2019. There's a Hamish Watson double, resulting in a 2-1 win. That was all the way back in the season opener in 2019. Play's going to continue here after Dunlop goes down. Chibba with some fancy stuff into the area. He goes. Knights are searching for the lead. Chibba, it nearly got away from him. Had to play back. Semi's the one that goes in. It won't get anywhere near Inia. Dunlop finally getting back up on his feet. Morton. And then Valenti goes down. Did he get hit by the ball there? Body's flying. There's all sorts of funny stuff happening out there right now. Once more, Declan Woods has to stop play. What a weird and wonderful first half this has been. It's a yellow card to Jordan Hall this time. It did look as though the ball was kicked directly into Adrian Valenti. There's another Knights player down in behind where all of that last exchange happened, and I think Dunlop has come off worse for wear here from the previous challenge we saw a little earlier. Is John Markovsky going to be required to make a move at half-time? So this is going to extend the first half out. Dunlop gets back up now and has been able to shake off his ailment. So a bit to recap here. Ate Inia, just his second appearance for Melbourne Knights, scoring in the 3rd minute, ball deflecting up and into the goal. Only a couple minutes later, Connor Hampson cannons one from range to get the equaliser. That's 2 goals in 5 minutes to start this game. Kingsley Sinclair able to get one just past the glove of Gabriel Marti, forced in eventually by Kasimovic, but the goal being given to Sinclair for a 2-1 lead for Oakleigh. And then not long after the half-hour mark, the skipper, Kieran Bramwell, in not too dissimilar fashion from what we saw Connor Hampson do earlier in the half, makes it 2-2. It's been a combination of free-flowing, high-scoring football, and especially in the last 5 minutes or so, it's become a real physical tussle. And our referee tonight, Declan Woods, has been quite busy in the last 5 to 10 minutes, flashing out some yellow across both sides. And so it's all to play for in the second half here. The Knights can jump 2 spots up the table with a win here this evening and take advantage of this game in hand that they've had for a month now. And the gap to Altona, who is their opponent on the final day of the season, would be 5 points going into next weekend. So it is doable. The draw is hard, we know that. Preston, Thunder, Hume City, Dandenong City and Altona. It's going to be a tough ask. But if they can tick this box here tonight, then you may well back the Knights in just to find a way out of this relegation hole. Oakleigh can drop these games, we know that. And we will go into half-time with this game perfectly poised. Melbourne Knights 2, Oakleigh 2, and go nowhere, because it's going to be one of the biggest second halves of the season coming up here from Tomset Stadium. We're catching up from round 17 on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. It's half-time, and it's Melbourne Knights 2, Oakleigh 2.
Let's go! Let's go.
45 minutes here, 2 goals apiece between Melbourne Knights and Oakleigh. What have we got in store for the second half? My name's Adam Sarikoglu. Pleased to be rejoining you on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. We are catching up round 17 here, a game that was due to be played on the Sunday of the King's birthday weekend. This pitch ended up being too waterlogged and we had to reschedule it. And after having quite the downpour earlier today in these parts, the pitch has held up and we are one half away from being entirely caught up in NPL Victoria with 5 full rounds still to come. Doherty Cup semi-final weekend. Of course, we have games coming up there later on in the weekend, and we've just got a delay for the start of his second half, and it's the same issue we had before the first half kicked off. Some running repairs in the bottom right corner of the net here at the northern end of Topset Stadium. That is right of screen as you are watching us on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Everything has been sorted there. And so we now get set for the second half. Inia, Bramwell, Hampson and Sinclair are your scorers here. Joe Guest currently sitting second in the goal scoring charts, 3 behind Bull Duarch. Has not scored just yet this evening. And we've said it quite a few times already, the Knights can jump 2 spots up the table if they can get a win here tonight. It'll be still 5 points adrift of Altona, but they will be a point clear of both Melbourne Victory and Port Melbourne. 2 clubs they will not meet again this season. An early push here being generated by Sinclair for Oakleigh. It's Semi getting to work here with Juranovic not far away. Kasimovic comes in, forcing the turnover. Juranovic losing his footing. Connor Hampson scored the pick of the 4 goals in his first half, and he set one up here. No, it's off target. Just a plain miss by Adam Juranovic. And he was filthy with himself. Hot start to this second half, though, by Oakleigh. A game in which both teams have led, but shared the honours going into the sheds. The Guest ball, interesting off the side of the boot, popped up fairly high. Gets it back here, Guest. This is Matthew Dench. Fraser Dunlop had him tightly marked. Bramwell will clear out for the Knights. Playing all over the park tonight is Kieran Bramwell. Here's Equalizer in the 32nd minute. The most recent of the 4 goals we've had so far. Tratt gets it back from Hall. Gilp, in fact, it was. That was combining with Tratt. Wendell for Brownwell in the middle of Tomset Stadium. Just enough on that ball to place it in front of Tommy Semi. Wendell, that was a heavy one from Semi. Wendell gets it back. Valenti. Lovely little chip for Semi. There are 3 Oakleigh defenders around this ball though. Declan Woods let it play out for a while. Dunlop fouling Dench. We've spoken a lot about Melbourne Knights' draw in the final 5 for Oakleigh. They'll be hosting Hume City this time next week. Remaining home games, Hume City, Altona and South Melbourne on the final day of the season. Road trip still to come against Dandenong City and Heidelberg. What a game that'll be on the penultimate round of the season against the all-conquering Alexander. A team that, believe it or not, lost their season opener right here at Tomset Stadium. What an anomaly that result has turned out to be this season. Of course, you had Kane Shepherd in the unusual colours of red, white and blue for Melbourne Knights against Heidelberg on that particular night. That resulted in a surprising win for Melbourne Knights, especially now, given what has played out this season. Shepherd no longer here at Summer Street. Habson. Sinclair, a goal scorer in consecutive weeks for Oakleigh. Scored his 4th goal of the season earlier tonight. Cannons will jump Dandenong Thunder, a team that probably should have beaten them last week, into 3rd on the table. If they can win here tonight, and now they're potentially going to get a chance here. Danch won't get to it. Dunlop dumps it off in the end. They'll make another run at it now. There's 2 blips on the radar recently, going down 5-2 at home to Melbourne Victory in the middle of June. And they followed that up with a 3-2 away defeat to Dynamo, finding form at the right time of year. Cam Watson's men they were able to get up 4-2 in a local derby against these Melbourne Knights last week. After Knights got the better of Dynamo earlier in the season here. Shiba. With the keeper out of the area, Shiba is still working alone here. Bodies flying everywhere. Another bizarre passage of play there. There's a Knights player down. That appears to be Inia, scored the 1st goal tonight. All sorts of chaos there for Jack Wachowski. Safe by the whistle in the end. capping off on that conversation about Oakleigh's weird recent form, those two unexpected defeats. Well, then followed up by the 4-0 thumping of Preston. For Oakleigh, it's just about getting enough points on the board to get into the top 6, ideally the top 4. And they are one side you do not want to run into in the finals. As most recently South Melbourne will of course attest to. The Knights will be looking to take the advantage that we saw Melbourne Victory and St Albans take advantage of when they ran into Oakleigh recently. Oakleigh can just take the foot off the gas at times. Of course, they're not anywhere near as desperate for the 3 points here tonight. Gabriel Marti with the goal kick here. The rain has held off here this evening. It got quite wet throughout the afternoon here in Melbourne. The rain rather heavy at times in these parts, but no issues with a waterlogged pitch. That is the reason why we're here tonight, catching up this game that was due to be played in the middle of June a month ago. It's a round 17 game wedged between rounds 21 and 22. Inia was looking to wind up for a moment there. Boyce was having none of it. Guest. Right through the legs. And possession given back to Melbourne Knights. Dunlop back to Marty. Under a lot of pressure from Joe Guest and outside his area as well. Has to double back now. Dunlop having a hard time getting around Juratovic. Did well in the end. Bramwell placed it on the wrong side for Semi. Easy pickings for Tratz. Joe Guest goes flying. A little shake of the head there from Declan Woods. Not much to it, just a cheeky little foul. We begin again with Tratz. Kazimovic in the one-on-one. It does fall loose to Dazelle. Morton's ball out wide. The Knights looking to go quickly here. It's going to come all the way back now. And again, just a little bit of confusion in the way that Declan Woods has let that all play out. It will be an Oakleigh ball. So at the same time in the first half, we already had 2 goals on the board. We weren't too far away from the third one either. No scores just yet here in the second, 2-2. Shorski just outside his area. Here's Dench. A draw for Melbourne Knights will not change their ladder position and will still be last, a point behind Victory and Port Melbourne. We've already played the teams immediately around them on the table twice this year. Altona Magic looming on the final day of the season as the crucial one. They've had a couple of chances to counter in the last couple of minutes. McGilp was working hard to stay step for step with Artenia. Guest. Tratt. Hampson. Guest. Just sneaking forward right now is Joe Guest after offloading his most recent pass. Back toward Tratt. Just a little slip there for McGilt, but nothing to worry about. A test in patience. Datch. With his fellow number 22 in Chiba, keeping him tightly marked along the touchline. Dunlop does well in the one-on-one against Hampson, but now Dench in his way. It has been turned over. I don't know if Sinclair was caught by surprise there or not. I don't know if he was, but his first touch was ineffective. Tommy Semi, any other man ahead. Out wide, Valenti. Morton took the contact. It's gone in anyway. Tommy Semi. Melbourne Knights lead again. The crowd have found their voice. And against the reigning champs, they now have to hold this lead through to the final whistle.
Goal to the Melbourne Knights, Tommy Semi.
For the second time tonight, the Knights get the lead, courtesy of the mid-season signing. John Markovski was ready to make a change. That change has happened. Inia is coming off. Darcy Anastovsky comes on. Another one of the Altona Magic cohort that in a roundabout way have eventually followed John Markovski here to Tomset Stadium. It is 3-2. What a game we have on our hands. Oakleigh will not want to lose 3 in 5. A loss tonight, not hugely consequential for Oakleigh because they already have a 6-point gap over Preston and a very substantial goal difference advantage as well. They're safely in the top 4 for now. But with a loss, they will be 3 points behind Dandenong Thunder. It's Boyce in high quarters. Joe Guest dispossessed by Chiba. And as soon as they were out, the Melbourne Knights, the whistle blew on Darcy Anastovsky. Another Oakleigh player down. Anastovsky was out. But it is going to come back for Oakleigh. I think it might have been Brodie Boyce. He's now walking it off. Another Joe Guest free kick. A longer ball toward the back post. Tratt tried to play back in. Chiba chasing down. Anastovsky with some fresh legs. He won't be denied this time. No, he will be. The foul call going Jacob Tratt's way. He is denied twice at midfield. Darcy Anastovsky. 2 changes coming up for Chris Taylor. They are on the back foot. And the general momentum is with Melbourne Knights right now. Hampson. We go again. This time he goes on the right boot. Here come the changes for Chris Taylor. First of the evening for the visitors. Noah Holmes coming on for Cameron McGill. And Thomas Alessandrados is coming on for Matt Etch. If the Knights can hold this lead, their season comes alive once more. It has to go close to perfect from here if they're going to survive the drop. But this one is panning out well so far against one of the benchmarks of the league. And again, just some awkward moments in defence that are opening the door for the Knights to pounce on. And they've done well to make most of their opportunities. They're looking a little out of sorts right now, Oakleigh. Semi has been quite influential tonight. Hall. Boyce has gained quite a bit of territory here. Takes his throw backwards. All is okay. These are nervy times right now for Melbourne Knights. They've seen points slip away late. Go back to that draw they had, the JL Murphy reserve against Port Melbourne a little while ago, where Port took a late equaliser. Dunlop making a nice run here. But he was lone wolfing it. It results in a corner. Positivity from the Knights. It'll be Adrian Valenti's corner. Can they extend the lead? Just a touch over 20 minutes remaining. They've had a game in hand for a month. Are they going to take the ultimate advantage? Get off the bottom of the table. Against the club they have not beaten. That was a clear handball by Joe Guest. They have not beaten Oakleigh in NPL Victoria since their opening game of the 2019 season. A game in which Joe Guest scored in. But Hamish Watson scored twice for a 2-1 win for the Knights. And there's been no glory since against Oakleigh for these Melbourne Knights. They are on track to change all of that here this evening. And what a time to do it. Fighting for their NPL Victoria lives. Anastovsky illegally held up by Jordan Hall. And some afters as well. Giselle not happy. I think that was card worthy. It definitely was. Well, it might have been anyway. And if it was Jordan Hall, it would have been a second. He's treading on thin ice. And it was indeed Jordan Hall, confirming on replay. Wachowski took the pack mark. And then got fouled as he tried to clear out. So Jordan Hall will be on his last warning now. The Guests get a clip there from Fraser Dunlop. Do we get an out-swinger from Guest or an in-swinger from Asad Kasimovic? He'll receive from Guest. Kasimovic! It's snuck in the gap! A gap the width of the ball itself between the post and the glove of Gabriel Marti, and it found it. And the lead has vanished again. 3-3. Oh, wow. Silence again at Summer Street. 2 leads down the drain for Melbourne Knights, but there is still plenty of time. That shot required pinpoint precision. And that tiny gap between the fingertips of Gabe Marti and the post was where the ball ended up. 3-3. which in all honesty for the Melbourne Knights is just as bad as a loss. Can you believe it? Another Joe Guest free kick. And he'll scurry over to take a corner. Oakleigh playing the role of heartbreaker, are they? Here's the Guest corner. Bramwell was desperately trying to avoid an Oakleigh shot. It was up against Hall. It gets away from Trapp. Melbourne Knights are the ones on the back foot again. Can Kasimovic do it again? This time he went for the right post. Was it handled? No. Chiba deciding to hold up in his run. Bramwell. Tommy Semi's been a danger man tonight, but Boyce will deny him. Tratz. Holmes. Ball in denied by Hancock. Chiba against Kasimovic. Chiba now double manned. It pops up in the air. And it will fall to Juratovic. Denied. Knights holding firm when they need to. Bramwell. Anastovsky goes in for a second time. Bramwell comes in to help out Anastovsky. Chiba. Giselle. These are going to be 15 crucial minutes coming up for the Melbourne Knights. This can be the night from which they springboard and storm home to keep their place at the top of the Victorian footballing pyramid. Or it's going to be yet another chapter of what has been a sorry story this year. That, for the most part, seems destined to end in an unthinkable relegation. Giselle, Morton, Valenti. Morton could have gone long wide for Chiba. Bramwell, two great touches there. Anastovsky man on, two men on, still Anastovsky out wide for Semi with some space. Tommy Semi has already scored once tonight. Looking for the space is Tommy Semi, still going. Anastovsky went first time. Semi wasn't happy about that. Oakleigh will take it away. It stays 3-3 here. Hampson. Tratz. For the Knights, a loss or a draw just as bad as a loss in their plight. Oakleigh A draw won't hurt them so much. They'll be in the top 4 either way after this one's done and dusted. We'll have 5 games to play, 5 more weekends in the NPL Victoria regular season after this. Some Doherty Cup fixtures coming up in the men's ranks later on in the weekend. Hampson. Kasimovic blazed wide. Alessandrados chasing down. Semi on the scene first. Sent forward by Valenti. Holmes to Hampson, should say. Tratz. Noah Holmes. Hampson, not far away from Dradovic. Marty does lay a glove on it. Valenti fouled. Another change for Melbourne Knights, and we are going to see Alex Hurd this evening. Tommy Semi has battled valiantly. He gave the Knights the lead after the hour mark. Put in the hard yards tonight. We'll get a deserved rest now. Alex Hurd will come on for some late energy for Melbourne Knights. Inside the final 10 minutes of regulation. And we are locked at 3-3. Sheba pumped the legs hard. Hampson tried to claim the throw. All in vain. Melbourne Knights ball. Dunlop. Hancock's volley into the area. Chiba, gee, if he could have had that ball fall in front of him, that would have been all sorts of trouble for Oakleigh. That came off Dunlop. The situation is far less desperate for Oakleigh. 1 point won't be a bad result for them tonight. It would be a hammer blow for the Melbourne Knights. They need all 3. There is time. Game in which goals have flowed freely through portions of it. 2-2 at half-time. Now sitting at 3-3. 6 different scorers, none of which are Joe Guest. The second leading scorer in the league. Tratz. And Ostovsky was looking to pounce. Holmes. Wants it to Kasimovic. Sheba gets tripped up by Joe Guest, who himself has been fouled quite a bit this evening. Seven minutes until we hit the 90. Knights need a 4th goal. A wasted ball from Hancock, only as far as Holmes. Kasimovic, the latest player to be tripped up and fouled. Is this some calm before a late storm? Sinclair just out of reach for Connor Hampson. Down to 6 minutes left. Anastovsky. Giselle. Valenti. Hot on his heels was Alessandrados. And well, the woes continue. The corner for Oakleigh. They're looking to deliver the hammer blow here. Guest slipping over. It's going to fall to Kasimovic. Physically buying his space, but the shot blocked. A desperate heave out of danger. Counting down to the 90, inside 5 minutes now. The Knights need to throw the kitchen sink at this. Holmes almost through to Joe Guest. Trap. Hall. Hampson the target of this long ball, and it will reach him. Nice ball in the end from Jacob Trapp. Bramwell won't get there. Trapp does. Holmes. Another minute ticks by. Oakleigh are going to drag this out through to the end. Not really needing a score. They're safely in the top four for now. There are teams below them who need to make up some ground on Oakleigh. If they are to win tonight, the gap between the top four and those challenging below, including Preston, Hume City, Dandenong as well. Dandenong City, Marty gets a glove there. The gap between Dandenong City, or Dandenong Thunder in fourth, and Preston in fifth is going to be 9 points if Oakleigh wins this. The Knights haven't had a look for quite a few minutes now. Hampson. Kasimovic. Body check from Fraser Dunlop. Cheeba's on the deck, taking some deep breaths as well for Melbourne Knights. It's been a shootout. But will it end deadlocked at 3-3? Is to be one more goal tonight, whichever way it goes. It's going to be one of the most important of the season within the context of the relegation fight. Joe Guest is waiting for the green light from Declan Woods. He gets that now. Another one going toward the back post. It's going to be tracked down by Trapp. Bramwell right on his heel. Oakleigh ball. And the furthest man away has come over to take this throw. It's Boyce. 90 seconds remaining. And the Knights fans will be sweating on the fourth official. who is Max Hanlon. And the number that goes onto his board in just over a minute from now. Kasimovic went from range once more. That one not going to come off. Dunlop. They've at least got it over halfway. First time in a little while for Melbourne Knights. Final minute of regulation. There are some remaining subs that are being readied by John Markovski. And that's Masata Shiba who needs to come off here. He was told to go down. He's got an issue with his left lower leg, it would seem. Calf maybe. He's going to move over to the sideline. There is going to be a change here for the Knights. Cheap has been hampered for a little while. Filip Jachevski will replace him. The 90 minutes are up. The extra time period is going to start with the Melbourne Knights free kick. All eyes on Max Hanlon, the fourth official. Working on the board. It's 4 minutes that go up. Morton. Wachowski coming a long way out of the area. The ball's kicked straight into him, then he falls over the top of it. It was Jachevski looking to fire the shot away. So 4 minutes for the Knights, who have led this game on 2 different occasions. But right now, not much to show for that. If nothing changes on the scoreboard, they get 1 point when they so desperately need 3. Jachevski. It was well played by Hampson the entire time, tracking him and winning it back for Oakleigh. Guest for Holmes. Brownwell tried to come in and snatch it away. Hall a little pressured with that clearance. Juratovic, how's it going to bounce for him? Hancock and Werntel nearly getting in one another's way. It's an Oakleigh throw. As you take a look at the top of your screen, we're into stoppage time. There were 4 minutes added on here. Kasimovic coming out of nowhere, not really able to impact the ball. Hampson, this is a dangerous moment here. Guest, not quite. It's the reprieve that the Melbourne Knights needed. Marty had that angle covered. Joe Guest, 3 goals behind Paul Duarch in the race for the Golden Boot. A minute and a bit. For the Melbourne Knights to get a late winner. It's Morton who sees it out. Yellow card shown to the Melbourne Knights bench. It's getting desperate now. Jachevski has to just get away from him. And as the ball comes back his way a second time, he gets fouled. This might be the last chance for the Melbourne Knights here tonight. Some tough games still to come. Preston, Dandenong Thunder, Hume City, Dandenong City, all in the top half of the table. Their only remaining opponent in the bottom half of the table is Altona on the final day of the season. Morton eventually falling central in the area. Anastovsky desperately going back in. Hancock, if he's onside! What a save that was! Jack Wachowski denies Hancock. It'll be a corner kick, and that might be it for the Melbourne Knights. So close to a late winner was Nathan Hancock. It will come down to this for the Melbourne Knights. A corner for Adrian Valenti. They must score from this corner kick. Valenti played back by Anastovsky. It's off target, and it's probably going to see us out here. The 4 minutes are well and truly up. They have no choice but to settle for a point. And there are multiple heads in hands for the Melbourne Knights. They took it up to the champs. They led twice throughout the course of this game. To end in relegation. They get 5 more chances to save their season. It'll start next week away to Preston. Oakleigh settling for their second consecutive 3-3 draw. It started with Arte Inia in the 3rd minute for Melbourne Knights, a 1-0 lead cancelled out nearly immediately after by Connor Hampson. Kingsley Sinclair claimed the lead for Oakleigh just inside the 20-minute mark before Kieran Brownwell made it 2-2. Just a touch over the half-hour mark. Tommy Semi regained the lead in the 63rd minute. He was outstanding on the left side for Melbourne Knights tonight. But Asad Kasimovic, 10 minutes later, was able to score a final equaliser. And that is how we've landed at a 3-3 result. We're now all caught up in NPL Victoria. We've got 5 rounds left. Enjoy the Doherty Cup semis coming up later on in the weekend. But it's going to be a huge end to this season with 5 games to come. That's us done from Tomset Stadium at the end of an entertaining affair. The Melbourne Knights fall short of a much-needed win. They settle for the draw. And the Oakleigh 3.